Hey everybody, it's Sam with the Film Fan Club, and it's January of an even-numbered year, so that means it's time for another season of Sherlock to start. That's really awesome, because it was like January of 2014 last time I got to see these guys, and really can't wait for the new adventures of what happens at the end of Season 3, and uh, Sherlock and Moriarty, Sherlock and Watson, and how they deal with it. And I guess we're gonna take a step back and actually see what would have happened if they were still in the 1890s setting. And that was really the plot of the Abominable Bride. This new episode is the Christmas special, I guess, of Sherlock. Of course, the show with Benedict Cumberbatch and Martin Freeman, written by the people who do Sherlock. So that's really awesome. I like this. Or not who do Sherlock, who do Doctor Who. I love Doctor Who. I like Sherlock. I like seasons 1 through 3. It's really fun, the modern setting and whatnot, but it was great to see it twist on the setting and actually see what our characters played by Benedict Cumberbatch and Martin Freeman would look like in the classic Sherlock Holmes setting, like the books. It's really cool. They play on the fact that Watson actually writes about the accounts of Sherlock Holmes, and it's really fun. Just getting to see all this stuff realized, and it almost makes me kind of want another show, like basically of them in the 1890s. It's pretty fun. I prefer the modern setting, of course, but it's fun to see this in this episode. The plot, of course, is very fun. It starts out as a ghost story, then kind of becomes a little bit of a mystery, and in classic Sherlock Holmes nature, of course, it didn't disappoint in that regard. There was a little bit of well, I guess this is a minor spoiler, I guess, if you don't want to know anything about this and you haven't seen it at all. But I don't think it impacts like your viewing of it. You'll enjoy knowing this, but ahead of time. But Andrew Scott, I just got to complain a little bit. Andrew Scott, of course, plays Moriarty, and he's in this episode, and he overacts quite a bit. So it almost worries me a little bit because, of course, Moriarty is supposed to come back in season 4, or I guess he's supposed to come back in season 4, I guess. But so it makes me a little bit worried that is Andrew Scott going to be overacting in every scene in season 4 of Sherlock, because he was overacting in this little Christmas special. But it wasn't so much so that it detracted from this Christmas special too much. I really enjoyed the episode as a whole. I love these episodes of Sherlock. They're like an hour and a half to 2 hours long each, so it's like I get a full movie basically in each episode, which is why they only do 3 a season. Makes sense. But I guess we're gonna hopefully, I don't know if this counts as one of the 3, or we're gonna get 3 more on top of this. I hope we get 3 more. 3 more probably is what I'm being told. But I can't wait to see actually how the actual storyline of Moriarty coming back, miss me and all that, and seeing how Sherlock and Watson handle it. This episode was really fun. You could tell at times that it was kind of a step. It's kind of because minor spoiler again, this is kind of Sherlock in his head, in his mind palace, figuring out what it would be like if he were to solve this case in the 1890s, and that's like kind of the setup and the MacGuffin and why we are seeing this episode. And so it's kind of contrived, and it's kind of like, everyone's saying, Sherlock, let's go deal with Moriarty, and he's like, no, I don't want to. I want to deal with this. And it's kind of like how we feel with the writers. The audience is like, hey, let's see what happens with Moriarty, and like, no, I want to deal with this. And it's fun for what it is, I guess. It was just a little bit weirdly placed, I guess, because it was such a pressing cliffhanger, but still, I really enjoyed this episode. It's a fun classic episode of Sherlock. Kind of provides a new twist on this series that we've grown to love over the course of 3 seasons. Can't wait. It's back. I don't know what the schedule is for when it comes back. I know you can find, if you live in Oklahoma at least, you can watch this episode on January 10th on PBS. Or is it January 11th? I don't know. One of those two. January 10th, January 11th. I'm being told it's the 11th. January 11th on PBS, if you live in Oklahoma. And that's where you can watch the Christmas special, The Abominable Bride, Sherlock, set in the 1890s. It's really fun. And I'm going to give the episode a solid... probably an 8. I was going to say 7.5, but I think it's worth an 8. It was a really fun episode. Nothing really detracted too much. It kind of was a little bit cheesy and over-stylized at some points, but the series is kind of like that. It was just an overall really fun classic Sherlock Holmes adventure. What more can you ask for at this point? It's really fun, and the direction was pretty good too. It has that writing that Stephen Moffat and Mark Gatiss bring to it. Mark Gatiss is a little ridiculous in this twisted too, but you can have fun with it. So I think you will. Thanks for joining me on this little review. I'll see you guys in the next Film Fan Club video. Follow me on the various social media sites at Samuel D. Carrico. Thanks for watching.